Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got 4 decks for you. We have a couple of Hope decks, we have a Pixie deck, and we have 1 deck for anyone who didn't get the new cards. Let's get ourselves started. But before we do, I'm going to ask you all a quick favor. We doubled our watch time the first time I asked this, and then it was back to sort of normal yesterday. If you're willing, if you're able, please let the video play through, watch the whole thing. A lot of work goes into them. Helping our watch time go up will help our growth exponentially. Please, if you're willing, if you have time, if you don't have time, just please let it run, mute it, feel free if as necessary, but please help us get our watch time on these videos up. Our first deck is from YoWoodyMJ. YoWoodyMJ is one of the best players in the world. He runs a little Discord called that's the Top 100 Lounge or Top 100 Club or something like that. He's an excellent player and has a fantastic Hope deck. Day 1 Infinite, shocking no one. After that, we'll do our giveaway and our questions of the day. Then we've got a Desmond deck. Desmond is one of our favorite players. Desmond is a Korean player who builds an absolute ton of meta decks and often wins major tournaments. We'll take a look at what Desmond is doing with Hope. At that point, we're going to do a bundle guide for 3 freaking different bundles. There's 3 bundles in the shop right now. We're going to tell you about all 3. Then we've got our Royce Townsend deck, and it's not a Galactus deck. Royce is rocking out with a non-Galactus deck, but I think it's a really cool deck. It's meant for people who don't have the new cards, and, well, you can play it even if you do have the new cards, right? It's a really good deck. It won an Infinity border because everyone who's Day 1 Infinity is Day 1 Infinity with the new cards, right? So I went and grabbed a deck that a few days ago got an Infinity border, so we know it's legit. Then we've got 2, actually ended up with 5 early meta lessons, just things I've learned about the meta and haven't had a ton of time to play. We had the huge Union thing happen today, but we had enough time to figure things out, to pay attention to people, to talk to some really smart players. And I've got a few meta reads. And then we've got, finally, the deck that's the 74% win rate Pixie deck that I just went 8-2 with casually in about 40 minutes on my way to to hitting rank 80. I know I've just barely played. I've been really busy. I'll get to Infinite this weekend as usual. We'll end with shop and shoutouts. All right, so YoWoodyMJ's bounce deck. Woody has been playing Darkhawk Annihilus Bounce basically forever. Woody is the player who last week, as soon as Darkhawk was nerfed, was immediately like, nope, this card's still great, and immediately started putting out great decks with Darkhawk. Ika is also really, really high on the 5/4 Darkhawk, just so you know. It is really, really nice that with nothing else happening, this is just a 5/10. 5/10 is still really solid stats. So this deck has 3 basic packages. It's got the Darkhawk package, the Bounce package, which Hope and Werewolf are a part of, and the Annihilus package. And these packages often have a little trouble playing nice together in the past, especially as Darkhawk's costs change and Werewolf's costs changed. But Hope does a lot of work in alleviating that concern because, well, Hope gives you extra energy so you don't have to worry about it. Now, I'm going to tell you this straight up. Rock Slide is not a priority on this deck. He's nice, but hey, a 5/10 or 5/12 Darkhawk, and often more like 5/14 Darkhawk because you can multiplay Gorg, is more than good enough. Sometimes you just don't have much else to do on those turns, right? Where you're just like, I could play an extra 1, or I might as well just Rock Slide. Just drop a Rock Slide, you're not going to be too sad to do so. It's a nice 3 power is not nothing, and then the 2 rocks in the deck are super disruptive. Alright, so this needs Werewolf and Annihilus, or it's a different deck. You can build other versions of this. In fact, I would bet you there is a version that just cuts Annihilus and Sentry and plays a different deck, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. You can cut the Darkhawk package and just run a general good stuff cards, and the 2 I really think of are Zabu and Morphors. So you would cut, I think you keep Korg, but you would cut Rock Slide and Darkhawk, and I think I would add Shang-Chi and Zabu. And then you could also just add Kitty and Elsa, which would be perfectly fine. I want Elsa in this deck really badly. I keep looking back at it and being like, but how do I fit Elsa? But how do I fit... Sorry, not Elsa. I really want Kitty in this deck. I keep looking back at it and going, how do I fit Kitty? How do I fit Kitty? So Nico can be Kitty, Pride, or Hawkeye. That's one way. If you don't have Nico, that would do. And you can find Woody at twitch.tv/YoWoodyMJ. You're going to get absolute top-notch play. And if you want to learn the fundamentals of playing really good Marvel Snap, this is an amazing place to go. Alright, So 68% win rate, day 1 infinite. I played this deck a little bit. It is as strong as advertised. So turn 1, play a 2, play a 1. Turn 2, play more 1s. Turn 3 is actually slightly inaccurate. Hope is definitely the key here, but I would rather bounce than play Rock Slide as a general rule. Again, Rock Slide has fallen down my list as I tested this deck out a little bit to make sure. Turn 4, bounce if you have Hope. Is just generally better than Werewolf, is more or less equal to Sentry, although if you did your bounce on 3, that's why the bounce on 3 went up. Werewolf is better. The reason I like the bounce on 4 instead of playing Werewolf is because if you can get that bounce on 4 and you have Hope out, now you can play Werewolf and all those cards to move it around, and it's very easy for this to get a 12, 14, 18 power Werewolf. Turn 5 is move your Werewolf, drop a Nihilus or Werewolf, and move with the bounce cards. Again, you could easily have 6 or 7 energy on this turn. If you do, then guess what? All of a sudden, you're looking real good with that Werewolf and start moving it. And turn 6 is generally Darkhawk and whatever's left with your extra energy. And that's how you win the game. It's really straightforward for a bounce deck. So if you're learning bounce, this is a fairly solid place to start. Just learn. What you're trying to learn is which of the 3 play lines you're going for. Do not play Sentry if you don't have a Nihilus, unless you're planning, unless you have a bunch of 1s in the right lane, at which point you can still play Sentry and then beast it back on beast that void back on 5, which works just fine as your opponent tries to fill that, and all of a sudden you've sort of screwed them up. All right, real quick, we got our variant look. We've got Iceman, Korg, Beast, Falcon, and a Nihilus, so 5 hips. It's a lower number. We need some more bounce hips. In particular, let's release that Darkhawk, that Rock Slide, that Werewolf by Night that we know are data mined for Dan Hip, that Nico that's data mined for Dan Hip. We're so close to being like all in on hips, but they got to release them. Also, you might notice the Hope variant. We'll talk more about that later. All right, we're giving away 1 billion season passes. It's now Thursday as of you watching this. I'm recording this, obviously, the evening before. So it's now Thursday as of you watching this. You have 1 more day to enter the season pass giveaway. Every comment on a video from, when is it? From last Monday or Tuesday to this coming Friday is an entry into the giveaway. Every single video is a season pass, so that's 10 season passes right there. We're giving away 5 more on our Twitter at SnapJudgeCast. That also ends Friday, so please make sure you enter that giveaway. You have to subscribe, like, and comment. And hey, if you're entering the giveaway, give the content a try. I think you'll like it a lot. We've got more giveaways to come, so make sure you keep your eyes here. Also, hopefully you subscribe. We bring you at least 3 brand new decks every single weekday. You might have noticed that we're bringing you 4 brand new decks this single weekday. Sometimes we bring you 8 decks when it's an OTA or something like that. So please check it out. I think you will like the content. Stick around. We'll be happy to have you and welcome you to the family. We also do tournaments and all sorts of stuff, so keep an eye out. All right, Almost Anonymous asks what buff Jean needs. I don't think she needs a buff. I think she's really close to being really good. Especially, she should counter, or at least frustrate a lot of Hope players, right? Or she works really well with Hope with your vision shenanigans where you can play there. You can play her on a Hope lane and just break things. She's probably could be a 3-4, but I don't think I'd do too much more. You don't want to make her overpowered and frustrating, because the second she gets good, she's a card that everyone's going to want nerfed. Gungrave wants to know why there are often comments before the video goes live. Well, so one of the Patreon $5 tier perks, $5 and up tier perks, is that I post the videos early there. So I post the video, I leave it on YouTube unlisted, and I post it there, and then about a half hour before it goes live, I schedule these go live at 8 a.m. every weekday and also Sundays. So if you would like to see these the night before, usually something like 11:30 p.m. Eastern, then check it out. Sometimes, over the weekends, I record significantly earlier, and then you'll have more time. Koire wants my thoughts on the coming Pokemon TCG. So my thought is basically, if the games are as quick as Marvel Snap or close, I'm going to do content for it. I don't know if I'll use this channel. Let me know what you'd prefer, please. Or if I'll just make a Snap Judgments Pokemon channel. But I would like to make some content for it. I'm fairly excited for it. As long as the games are quick, I'm really hyped for it. And I'm really hyped for it largely because my son loves Pokemon. His birthday present, the first game he ever beat was I think Pokemon Pearl, so I got 2 or 3 more Pokemon games for his birthday coming up at the end of the month. He's Pokemon crazy, it's something that could be really cool to bond with. And like, if it's a good game, right, like, and they are good at TCGs and gameplay is quick, then I fully plan to explore it and probably do some content for it. Again, please let me know if that's something you're interested in. Let me know if you'd watch my Pokemon TCG content. Hopefully your answer is yes, but be honest. All right, Inner Chimp wants to know what character's origin story is my favorite. Dr. Doom. Okay, that's it. If you'd like your question read out in tomorrow's video, leave one in the comments. All right, so this deck's all over the place. We're going to give Desmond credit for this version, but like we had a version of this in our preview video, right? Like this isn't Desmond's deck. This is just a really obvious deck. This is, in fairness, if we're going to give credit to anyone for this deck, it's the following two people. Ready? We have Lambie, who popularized Silky Smooth, and Owie, who started winning, not Owie, Owlgod, Owlgod, who started winning tournaments back over the summer with move decks like that were built around like Silk and Craven and Magneto, and then Lambie turned that into Silky Smooth, this is just like the obvious evolution of it, right? Like you stick Hope in it because Hope wants a lot of energy and loves that cards can bounce and move, and then Elsa and Angela are good because you're bouncing and you're moving, so Craven gets big, and Vision's great, right? Like, and then the only like everything sort of fits together. All right, so Kitty, Hope, Silk, Elsa, and Jeff are needed for the best versions. If you don't have those 5 cards, you're playing a very suboptimal version. Yeah, there's nothing for it. Elsa's actually terrifying in this deck. She's still really good, and I fully expect her buff to actually happen next week, which is going to push this deck up a level, so you should really know it. Mobius and Shang are the swing spots. We're seeing everything from Miles to Magneto and Alioth in those spots. I fully expect... So my preferred version cuts either Mobius or Shang for either Magneto or Alioth, but whatever. This deck is extremely strong, and you're not going to have too much trouble either way. We knew this would be good. Like, again, we're crediting Desmond largely because Desmond has a new YouTube. Desmond's brilliant and does a lot for the community, both in helping tie America, where I live, into Korea and communicate with the meta. He's got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/@DesmondKorea. Please go check it out. You've got gameplay for this exact deck, and tell him I sent you, because we want to show some love and support to our fellow Marvel Snap creators. Remember that it's community, and if you want this game to survive and thrive, we're all in this together. All right, 64% win rate, day 1 infinite. Turn 1, Kitty. I usually don't play Nightcrawler on turn 1. I'd rather save her because she's so good. Nightcrawler's so good with Elsa, Angela, and Hope. Turn 2, Elsa is better than Angela, and that's better than Jeff, who's greater than Silk. I'd like to save Jeff and Silk, but like if I don't have Elsa or Angela, if I do have Hope, I will often hold Jeff. I'm less concerned about Silk as a general rule. Turn 3 is... Hope is generally better than Mobius. There's games where you'll play Mobius over anything, right? Like if you see your opponent getting ready to play a Mr. Negative, play that Mobius and snap, please. But like, generally speaking, Hope is the key. Turn 4, I like 2/2s on Hope. Ideally, those 2s are the ones that move, and like you've already got an Elsa, right? Like you go Elsa, Hope, and then you go... if you can, Angela, Silk, or you can go Kitty and Nightcrawler there. You just want to fill that and get that extra power, basically from Elsa or Angela, and get that extra energy from Hope. Turn 5 is the same as 4, because you should have like 6 or 7 energy, and then you add Vision. You make yourself a huge Vision that you can move around. And then turn 6, you play a bunch more stuff and add Dr. Doom. It's wildly good. The reason you add an extra 6 is because if you don't see Vision, right? Like if you wanted to add that extra 6 is if you don't see Vision, if you don't see Doom, it gives you something else to do with all that energy. This deck can run out of energy. You could have too much. Shang-Chi is both excellent and scary here. It's really hard to throw priority with this deck sometimes, which can make Shang worse. But hey, a lot of people are just dropping big shit freely on 5, so Shang is still pretty damn good. All right, quick variant talk. This is more like it with our hips. We got Nightcrawler, we got Kitty, we got Elsa, we got Jeff, we got Vision, we got Mobius. I guess that's only one more, so it's 6. Okay, that's better. We got a couple babies in Angela and Shang, and then I'd like to do Venomize, Craven, and Silk together when we're in a deck. Also, I have this Doom in Gold, and I love it. All right, our first bundle we're going to talk about is the month-long bundle. I'm buying this because I think Iron Man Sentinels are a freaking really cool idea. They're happening in the comics right now. And so I'm all for it, and I want to own it. I like that variant. 2,000 gold, 1,200 credits. This is not the best deal, but it's a good deal. Every month that this deal, the deal around this value, sometimes it's $15, sometimes it's $20, is always a good value. You should probably grab it, but you don't have to feel bad if you don't. There's always bundles this good. And then like they released this at the same time, right? This one has a variant. This one has a card back. Variants are better than card backs. This one has 800 less credits and 200 less gold for the same price. Like, I don't understand why anyone would buy this. This is just way, way worse. Unless you feel like you must have the Magneto card back, please don't buy this. This is terrible value, and I'd really rather not encourage them for shit like this. This is literally just a better deal, right? You get a variant, so maybe you want the card back as much as the variant, fine. But you're getting 800 less credits and 200 less gold for the same money. Don't support that. That's a shit deal. Speaking of shit deals, this is one of the worst $100 value bundles they've ever given us. $100 value bundles basically never come up with less than 200% progress. 3,000 collector's tokens is nice. 6,000 credits is nice. 1,000 gold, cheap as shit. And the one spotlight key is what's really frustrating, because that one spotlight key replaces either like 500 credits, 5,000 credits, or like 3,000 collector's tokens, right? Well, 3,000 collector's tokens are worth more than one spotlight key. And while 5,000 credits, 4,000 credits, whatever, will basically get you one spotlight key, fundamentally, usually basically get you one spotlight key, what's really obnoxious about it is that you also get all that other stuff along the collection track, right? So you get a bunch of your credits back, you get a bunch of extra tokens and all, and variants and shit. And when they just give you or sell you the key, I got a hair in my mouth. When they just give you or sell you the key, you don't get that. And that's shitty to me. And I really don't want people to buy this, even though this is a freaking gorgeous Shang-Chi variant. I have like 5 Shang-Chis. I'm not getting this. I would strongly urge you as well to not get this. I would all but guarantee there will be a better value bundle relatively soon. All right, next up, this is our Cerebro 3 deck, and this is just mean. This is our friend Royce. Hey, Royce. Royce is on Twitter at Royce Like Rolls. And just makes really, really cool decks. Every time he makes something, I pay attention. So this deck basically, like, if you've got Leech, right, and you can get your Cerebro thing off, it's really hard for your opponent to beat you, right? Because you're just like, the downside of Leech is that he's shit stats, but when Leech is 5/7, all of a sudden he's not shit stats anymore, right? You've got Bast to like say, okay, maybe I can make everything huge that way, or Valkyrie, or you can forego them and use Ravonna for the 2/2/1 of Cerebro, Mystique, Grandmaster, which is absurd with Valkyrie. You can yeah, it's just absurd. It's absurd with Valkyrie also on turn 6, where you can go Valkyrie into Grandmaster and just double Valkyrie and rock people's faces off that way. Jeff helps you in that instance by making sure you can still fill a location. Iron Man doubles your 7s, right? So like if you have 2 7s there, now all of a sudden you have a 28 power lane, which usually wins. You can double Shang-Chi with Grandmaster. This deck is a thing of absolute beauty. Even really funny, if you know they're playing Scarlet Witch, you can always magic and then just make a second Limbo, as long as they don't have either. If you're playing Loki, you're screwed, or if they're playing Legion, you're screwed. But outside of that, you just made damn sure that Limbo was going to happen. So making sure Limbo's going to happen, Leech. Grandmaster, Jeff, Ravonna can be Sentinel, Killmonger, Scarlet Witch, Mobius. Those are the changes. I really don't like changing Grandmaster and Ravonna. I think Grandmaster is what makes this deck so cool. Jeff as Sentinel might just be better. Jeff as Scarlet Witch might even just be better. So this cleared an Infinity ticket. It is very worth playing. And remember, this is your non-new card deck of the day. I'm aware that many of you don't have Grandmaster. You can totally play it without Grandmaster. I just think Grandmaster is what makes it cool, not what makes it good. So, turn 1, Bast, if you have Iron Man, Cerebro, Mystique, Grandmaster, or Magic in hand, any 2 of them, and you're not planning on Ravonning on turn 2. Sometimes you'd rather they just be cheap. You have to decide. If you have Valkyrie in particular, 0 becomes 3 anyway. Turn 2, Invisible Woman is generally better than Ravonna, is generally better than Jeff, but hey, it depends what's in your hand. Again, if you know you're going to want to Iron Man on 4, right, or you already have both Cerebro and Mystique, and you don't have Bast, then all of a sudden Ravonna is better. Turn 3, Magic or Cerebro on Invisible Woman. Turn 4 is usually 2/2s or magic, but you could also put that Mystique on Invisible Woman. Turn, if you're going to, if you know your opponent's not playing Enchantress, put your Cerebro and Mystique in the same lane because that's a wonderful Valkyrie lane. Turn 5, Leech, especially if you've magicked. If you haven't magicked, it's often hard to leech. But if you have played magic, play leech. Turn 6, Iron Man. If Ravonna, you can Iron Man and Mystique on turn 6. Or you can just play Cerebro and Mystique and be totally fine. And turn 7 is Valkyrie or Shang plus Grandmaster. And then you say, thank you for all the cubes. Have a great day. Alright, we are hip light on this one, I feel like. We got Bast, Jeff, Ravonna, Iron Man, Leech. I guess 5 isn't hip light. I should stop saying that. We've got Ariane. It's actually Rianne, I believe. The name was corrected over on Twitter. We've got the Rianne Valkyrie. We've got a Peach, Shang, and Mystique. And then I don't know why I picked the Cerebro for this deck, but I did. And please release a Grandmaster variant immediately. Second dinner. Also, Alex Ross Invisible Woman remains my favorite Invisible Woman. I love the Fantastic Four so much. If you've never read like Fantastic Four comics, there's multiple amazing Fantastic Four runs. When Fantastic Four is bad, it's forgettable. But when it's good, it's like the best stuff in comics. Alright, meta thinks no. So Pixie is way less scary without Mobius. If you get snapped on a Pixie, and they don't play Mobius, you can still lose, right? Like, they still could have drawn the nut, but fairly often what they're drawing is like 3-cost cards that suddenly cost 6, and it's not as great. So pay attention when you're playing against Pixie, and remember that. 2, Alioth is back. If you're in an Alioth situation, assume they have it. I saw Alioth an absolute ton. Alioth was part of my frustration. It cost me some cubes because I stopped playing around it nearly as much. Alioth, Magneto, and Doom are in like tons of decks, at least 2 of the 3. You're not going to know which is at the top end, particularly of the move decks, like the Desmond one we talked about earlier. You need to try and read the board and plan for all 3. You need to like sit there and go, okay, if they play Doom, I do this. If they play Alioth, I do this. If they play Magneto, I do that. If they're playing super hard for priority, though, right? If they're making things that only make sense if they get priority, they're going to Alioth you. If they're playing to stay close in a bunch of lanes, but don't seem to worry about whether they're going over the top, it's Doom, and it's really hard to play around Magneto if you're running a lot of 3s and 4s, but try and fill whatever lane seems most obvious for that. And if they mess you up, they mess you up. Evo is back. Evo is literally everywhere. He is likely the best home for Pixie and a top home for Hope. I'm going to throw that deck because like I feel like we all know how to play high evolutionary decks at this point. I'm going to throw the Pixie Hope deck. It's going to be in weekend mission decks tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do our usual like 6 or 7 weekend mission decks, and that's going to be one, so just chill for that. Remember that the best way to play against high evolutionary is to immediately kill Limbo. The fear now is that doesn't matter anymore. So if this is now finally a tier 1 deck again, it's because Hope says I can just play I can play on turn 3 Hope, turn 4 Cyclops, turn 5 Pass, and then do my thing on turn 6. But if they do make a Limbo, please immediately blow it up. Also, prepare for Leech. If you've get leeched, if you know like they can snapping you on 5 because Leech is obvious, play accordingly, figure out if you can beat it or run. Don't wait for it. Next up, I've seen Goblins in like a full third of my games. People are running a Goblin Annihilus deck. I don't think it's very good, but it's all like everywhere right now. Which means Odin is completely hilarious. I played the next deck that we're going to talk about soon, and Odin the crap out of these. So is Zola, just for the record. Annihilus is fairly constant too in these Goblin decks, so be ready, which means generally speaking, be prepared to fill the right lane. And if you're going to play Annihilus, you really want to throw priority beforehand so that you can Annihilus their stuff back at them. Cool. All right. This is the Kapt Kerr Pixie. That's 74% win rate. This is the one I went 8-2 with, road to rank 80. It's nuts good. I don't know how else to say it. Pixie is really, really nice in this deck. Not pivotal, but really, really nice. There are definitely games, though, where I was able to go Panther and Zola on the last turn of the game, which felt really strong. Pixie in this deck is basically Lockjaw, so if you don't have Pixie, feel free to add Lockjaw. And I don't remember when, but a week or so ago, if anyone in the comments would kindly let me know, we covered a Safety Blade deck that he called Oh my god, Hammer Time. That was absolutely phenomenal and very similar to this, except it obviously didn't run Pixie, so you can run that as well. Beta Ray Bill is totally needed for this deck. Don't play without him. Mobius can be Killmonger, Nico, or lots of stuff, but hey, if you're playing Pixie, you want Mobius. So make sure you open enough caches to get Mobius with your Pixie. Good. Those two, Pixie is fine-ish without Mobius, and fantastic when you have Mobius on the board. So please remember that. Also, if your opponent plays Mobius, don't bother playing Pixie. It's only downside. Yeah? Alright, twitch.tv/Kapt Kerr is how you find Kapt Kerr, who plays this deck. Alright, turn 1 is Iceman. I don't hate playing Yellow Jacket Blind here. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I think I'm supposed to for hand space reasons, but it's not my favorite feeling thing. Board space is sort of for premium here. Turn 2 is Pixie over Iron Man, even if you don't have Mobius. I drew a 0-cost Mobius and got to play it with Thor in one of the games, and that felt real nice right after Pixie. Pixie is better than Iceman, and all the play lines are kind of out the window if you Pixie, because you don't know how much anything costs. Turn 3 is Thor over Mobius, and remember, you can fine without Pixie for this deck. Turn 3 is Thor over Mobius. Usually, again, remember the Mobius rule. If you're seeing negative or something, suddenly Mobius goes up. If you're seeing Destroy, and you know they're like trying to kill like a whole bunch of stuff for death, Mobius is better. Turn 4 is usually Beta Ray Bill over Wong, but if you have Black Panther in hand, that sometimes changes, right? Beta Ray is great. Turn 5, Pixie or a Thor. If you played Pixie or a Thor, Jane is 100% the pick. If you have Wong out, you Black Panther. It's also worth noting that you could just Wong Panther, and if you have Thor's on another location and draw a hammer, you can just drop a hammer on the last turn on Wong, make another huge lane, and not do anything really with that Panther. It's fine. Turn 6, Zolar Odin with hammers is perfectly freaking fine. You can Zola Panther. You can Zola a Thor, and then Thor Beta Ray, and then throw a Mjolnir on Wong, or throw a Mjolnir on or just play the damn Mjolnir, and you have enough of the things anyway. Or you can Odin and drop the hammers on Odin and win that way. If you have a Wong Panther lane, you can drop a hammer on Odin in that lane. You don't really need the Odin's power, but the extra 4 hits a hammer, it's pretty good. And then Panther is so big that you win that damn lane too. And it's sick. There's a lot of play lines, and it's very, very fun. I'm enjoying this. We'll see how much longer I play, but I am personally very much enjoying this deck. It's also our best hip deck of the day, so you love to see it. We've got Wasp, we got Iceman, we got Mobius, we got Wong, we got Panther, we got Jane, we got Zola, and we got Odin. 8 hips. That's what we like to see. Yeah, please, again, release a frickin' Beta Ray variant. Thanks. Okay. This is my shop for the day. As you can see, I bought the Pixie, I bought the Hope. I wasn't going to buy the Hope, and then I looked at it animated, and it looked really cool. So I was like, fine, I'll grab it. I don't care about any of the rest of these cards. They're not even close to buys. I have 4 Draculas, and including the Hip. I have the Hip Carnage and the Jacinto Carnage. I have the Hip Brood. Eventually I'm going to get the Jacinto Brood, but meh. It doesn't feel enough like Brood from the comics to me, even though I love Jacinto's art. I don't buy Pixels. I don't like Venomized variants at all. So here we are. Alright. Finally, I had my first premium mystery pack. This was my personal bundle. So second owner is trying to sell me something that they think I'd like based on my habits. $30 for 3,000 tokens isn't a terrible deal, but I have 66,000 tokens. Why are you trying to sell me more tokens? I don't need more tokens, and I certainly don't need a premium mystery variant for $30. Hopefully they come up with better deals than this, because this wasn't even close to enticing me. Alright, certain tiers of support come with on-air thanks on our Patreon. Our patrons who we are thanking today are Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, Cables, DG Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, Fothor Newman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., Jay Navarrete, JD McDonaldino, Akila Platano, Kirtix Lee, Koire, Doku, Philip Ratkovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins, Rob Silverman, Robert Rivern, The Bizza, Jay Bussy, Xorce V, Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, Black Dahlia, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Models, Louis Antunes, Matt Conduit, Matt H, Mikey Hijinks, NoFlex, Ocularis, Pretty Chill, Seamus, Spike Jones, Two Ties, the Pirate King Tucker, the Homie Min, and of course, Gunny T. Thanks so much for watching. Those of you who made it through know that I deeply appreciate you. Appreciate everybody who supports it all, but hey, if you made it through, you're really going the extra mile to help us out. I know that there's a lot of content. Watching me can be a damn near full-time job in and of itself with all the videos I put out. Hit that sub button if you haven't. If you made it to the end, you got it now, right? And if you're interested in going the extra mile to support the channel, or if you would like to participate in some really cool tournaments, check out the Patreon at patreon.com/snapjudgments. And we'll see you tomorrow with another Snap Take, in which we'll have both weekend mission decks and, as always, 3 brand new frickin' decks for you. I don't think there's an OTA later. If there is, suddenly I'll figure something out. Peace.